Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remembering and honoring September 11th, 2001. Nearly 20 years have passed since the attacks of September 11th, 2001. The attacks of 9/11 did far more than destroy buildings and kill thousands of innocent people. They interrupted routine patterns and tugged at our social fabric, not simply in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, but across the country as well. They shattered a sense of security and perceptions of invulnerability among residents of the United States and the Western world. Even those individuals who did not know anyone who died that day have been touched by tragedy. In this time of COVID-19, it is more relevant that we understand how communities survive after tragic events. Today I have a short video. I'm only able to share just a couple minutes, but I encourage you to go to the Cerritos High School link where I will have the extended 30-minute special created by the 9/11 Museum and Memorial.
Welcome to Anniversary in the Schools, a program commemorating the 9/11 attacks. If you've participated before, welcome back. If this is your first time, know that you are joining hundreds of thousands of other students from around the world to remember 9/11 and those who were affected. I'm standing in one of the sites where the attacks took place, at the World Trade Center in New York City. This space is now occupied by the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Today you're going to hear from 6 individuals connected to the attacks. They all have very different and very powerful stories to share. We hope that together they help you understand a little bit better what happened that morning and in the years since. And they'll be speaking to you in front of objects and spaces connected to their stories. You'll also hear from students born after the attacks, just like I imagine you were. Before we hear from them, though, we're going to play a short film that walks you through what happened on 9/11. The film focuses on 6 key events that morning. These are the moments that mark our day. Thank you again for participating. It's up to you now to remember what happened that day and in the years since. Soon it'll be you telling these stories to those who are younger than you. And that's a big responsibility. But it's one in which we've been entrusted and one that's incredibly important. For more stories after the program, visit 911memorial.org/learn. Thank you.
Good morning. 64 degrees at 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday, September 11th. I'm Lee Harris. Here's what's happening.
Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. An ordinary day in New York City. At 8:46 a.m., that normalcy ends suddenly when hijackers from the terrorist group Al-Qaeda deliberately crash American Airlines Flight 11 into the 110-story North Tower at the World Trade Center. First responders immediately rush to help.
Dispatch, Captain Brown, Rider 3. I'm at the World Trade Center.
Yes.
I'm on the 35th floor, okay?
Okay.
Just relayed to the command post. We're trying to get up. There's numerous civilians at all stairwells, numerous burn injuries are coming down. I'm trying to send them down first. Apparently, it's above the 75th floor. I don't know if they got there yet, okay?
Okay.
It's a free truck, and we're still heading up, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
All 11 firefighters responding from FDNY Ladder Company 3, including Captain Patrick Brown, would be killed that morning. 441 first responders die as a result of the attacks, the largest loss of emergency personnel in American history. Just 17 minutes later at 9:03 a.m., it becomes clear that this is a deliberate attack when hijacked United Flight 175 crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:37 a.m., a third hijacked plane, American Flight 77, is flown directly into the Pentagon, headquarters of the United States Department of Defense in Arlington, Virginia. Back in Lower Manhattan, at 9:59 a.m., the unimaginable happens. The South Tower collapses. Meanwhile, a fourth hijacked plane heads toward Washington, D.C. Passengers and crew aboard United Flight 93 learn from phone calls about the attacks that have already occurred. With this information, the passengers and crew storm the cockpit. In response, the hijackers crash the plane in an empty field outside Shanksville, Pennsylvania, just 20 minutes from Washington, D.C. All aboard are killed. Back in New York City at 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapses 102 minutes after being struck. On September 11th, 2,977 people from over 90 nations are killed.
If I was able to speak to someone who lost a loved one on 9/11, one thing I would ask them is how are they dealing with the grief?
How have they moved on from that moment, and how do they remember the person?
I would ask them if they're proud of them.
I think that's one of the saddest parts about 9/11, all those families who had to go through that mental turmoil, believing are our loved ones going to come home?
Hi, my name is Julie Sweeney Roth, and I'm 47 years old. I live in New Jersey, and my husband, Brian David Sweeney, was killed on September 11th. I met Brian in 1998, just 3 years prior to the events of September 11th. And it was a chance meeting, I like to say, because I was actually in a bar in Philadelphia. It was a place I had never been before. And when he walked in, I remember turning my head to the side and looking at my girlfriend and saying, that's the kind of guy I can grow old with. We exchanged numbers that evening, and 7 months later, we got married. It was a very quick romance. After being married approximately 2 years, we moved to Cape Cod, and that's where we were going to settle and have kids and grow old together. Brian was very interesting, very unique. I've never met, and I don't think I ever will meet anybody like him. He decided to go to Pensacola, Florida, and go to officer candidate school and enlist in the Navy. In the Navy, Brian became a lieutenant. He fought in the Gulf War. He flew fighter jets. He was an F-14 fighter pilot. After he flew in the Gulf War, he ended up going to Top Gun in Miramar, California, and becoming a student. He graduated top of his class and then went back and became an instructor. But when he left the Navy, that's when I ended up getting that opportunity to meet him. He worked for a company that was designing a new fighter jet, so that job required him to fly to LA once a month. And I'll never forget the weekend prior to September 11th. It was a beautiful, beautiful weekend on Cape Cod. And Sunday night, when Brian would normally be packing, he wasn't. What had happened is he changed his flight from September 10th, which was Monday, to Tuesday, September 11th. And I remember seeing him walk away, and you don't think anything of it. It was just a normal day, and I was off to work.